Once upon a time, in a land filled with vibrant colors, rich traditions, and a dash of mischief, lived a community that thrived on stories. Now, let's be honest. African folklore is a treasure trove of wisdom, humor, and sometimes downright absurdity. So, gather around, my friends, as I take you on a whimsical journey through the world of African folklore parody skits. We're diving deep into the heart of these tales, but with a twist that'll have you chuckling and scratching your head in disbelief. Now, if you've ever heard the story of Anansi the spider, you know that this little trickster is the king of cleverness. Anansi is not just any spider, he's the ultimate hustler. Picture him, weaving a web not just to catch flies, but to catch opportunities. One day, Anansi decides he wants to be the smartest creature in the jungle. So he comes up with a plan. He'll gather all the wisdom in the world and keep it for himself. Sounds like a classic case of, I'm smarter than you, right? So Anansi sets off on his quest, collecting bits of wisdom from the animals. He gets some from the wise old owl, a pinch from the clever fox, and a sprinkle from the wise tortoise. But here's the kicker. Every time he collects a piece of wisdom, he starts to feel a little more smug. You know that feeling when you ace a test and suddenly think you're a genius? Yeah, that's Anansi. But as he's strutting around, he realizes that he's got all this wisdom, but he's alone. Nobody wants to hang out with the know-it-all. So, in a moment of desperation, he decides to hide his wisdom in a calabash and climb the tallest tree to keep it safe. But here's the punchline. As he's climbing, he slips and drops the calabash. It shatters, and all the wisdom spills out for everyone to see. Suddenly, all the animals gather around, and they're like, "Hey, Anansi, what's this? You thought you could keep all this to yourself?" And in that moment, Anansi learns that wisdom is meant to be shared, not hoarded. Now, let's take a moment to appreciate the absurdity of it all. Here's a spider trying to be the smartest creature around, but ends up making a fool of himself. It's a classic tale of hubris, but with a playful twist. And speaking of twists, have you heard about the tale of the tortoise and the hare? Oh, you know the one. The slow, steady tortoise beats the speedy hare in a race. But what if we flipped the script a little? Imagine the hare, all cocky and confident, showing up to the race wearing sunglasses and a flashy tracksuit. He's got his entourage, other speedy animals cheering him on, throwing confetti, and making a grand spectacle of it. Meanwhile, the tortoise is just chilling, probably sipping some herbal tea, unfazed by the whole thing. The race starts, and the hare zooms off, leaving the tortoise in a cloud of dust. But instead of taking a nap, the hare decides to show off. He starts doing backflips and cartwheels, thinking he's the star of a reality show. But here's where it gets good. In his quest for fame and glory, he gets so distracted by his own performance that he forgets to keep an eye on the tortoise. The tortoise, Petrus, on the other hand, is just plodding along, completely focused. And as the hare is busy posing for the cameras, the tortoise crosses the finish line. The crowd goes wild, and the hare is left standing there, mouth agape, realizing that sometimes being too flashy can lead to a spectacular fail. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on this. How many times have we seen someone so caught up in their own hype that they forget the basics? It's relatable, right? We've all been there, chasing after likes and followers, only to realize that the true victory lies in staying true to ourselves and our goals. And then there's the story of the lion and the mouse. A classic tale of friendship, but let's add a little spice to it. Picture this, the mighty lion lounging on his throne, scrolling through his phone, checking his social media. He's got 1 million followers, but he's feeling a bit lonely. Meanwhile, the mouse is hustling, trying to make it big in the influencer world. One day, they cross paths, and the lion, in a moment of boredom, swats the mouse away. But the mouse, being the savvy little creature he is, decides to pitch an idea. "Hey, Mr. Lion, how about we collaborate? You've got the looks, and I've got the charm. Together, we can take the internet by storm." At first, the lion laughs it off. "What can a mouse do for me?" But the mouse, undeterred, starts brainstorming ideas. We could do a series called Roar and Whiskers, where you show your strength, and I add the humor. We'll go viral. Intrigued, the lion decides to give it a shot. They start filming, and soon enough, they're the hottest duo on the internet. The lion, once a solitary king, now finds joy in collaboration, and the mouse learns that even the smallest creatures can have big ideas. Isn't that a beautiful lesson? Sometimes the best partnerships come from the most unlikely friendships. It's a reminder that we don't have to go through life alone. We can lean on each other, share our strengths, and create something amazing together. Now, let's not forget about the infamous tale of the greedy farmer. Picture this: a farmer who has a field of corn so bountiful that he's practically swimming in it. But instead of sharing his harvest, he decides to hoard it all. He builds a giant silo, thinking he can sell it all for a fortune. But as the days go by, he becomes more and more paranoid. What if someone steals my corn? He thinks. So he sets up traps, hires guards, and even puts up a sign that says, "Beware of the corn." But here's the twist. In his obsession with protecting his corn, he forgets to enjoy it. His family grows distant, his friends stop visiting, and soon he's left with nothing but a mountain of corn and a lonely heart. One day, a mischievous bird swoops down and starts pecking at his precious corn. Instead of letting it go, the farmer goes on a wild chase, trying to catch the bird. But in the process, he trips over his own traps and ends up falling into the very silo he built to protect his harvest. As he sits there, surrounded by corn, he realizes that his greed has cost him everything. He emerges, covered in corn husks, and decides to throw a big feast for the entire village. Suddenly, everyone is back, laughing, dancing, and enjoying the corn together. The farmer learns that sharing not only brings joy, but also strengthens community bonds. This story, my friends, is a reminder of the importance of generosity over greed. We often get so caught up in our own ambitions that we forget to lift others up along the way. In the end, it's the connections we make and the joy we share that truly matter. And then there's the tale of the clever parrot. Now, this parrot is not your average bird. He's got a knack for imitating sounds, and he loves to mimic the villagers. One day, he overhears a secret plan about a treasure hidden in the forest. Excited, he decides to spread the word, but he does it in his own unique way. Instead of just telling everyone directly, he starts mimicking the villagers' voices, creating confusion all around. "Hey, did you hear about the treasure?" he squawks in the voice of the village chief. "What treasure?" responds another villager, mimicking the baker. "The one hidden under the old baobab tree." And just like that, chaos ensues. Everyone starts running towards the tree, digging and searching, only to find nothing but roots and dirt. But here's the kicker. In their frenzy, they end up discovering a hidden spring nearby, a source of fresh water they didn't know existed. The parrot, watching from above, can't help but chuckle. He realizes that sometimes, even when things don't go as planned, unexpected blessings can arise. This tale serves as a reminder that life is full of surprises, and sometimes the chaos can lead to beautiful discoveries. We often get so caught up in our expectations that we forget to embrace the unexpected. Now, let's take a moment to reflect on how these stories resonate with our lives today. In a world where everything seems so serious and fast-paced, it's essential to remember the humor and wisdom embedded in these tales. They remind us to laugh at ourselves, to not take life too seriously, and to appreciate the little moments that bring joy. So, the next time you hear a story from African folklore, whether it's about Anansi's cleverness, the tortoise's persistence, or the farmer's greed, remember to look for the humor and the lessons within. Share these stories, create your own parodies, and let the laughter echo through generations. And as we wrap up this whimsical journey, let's not forget that the heart of African folklore lies in its ability to connect us, to teach us, and to remind us of our shared humanity. Whether it's through laughter, wisdom, or the absurdity of it all, these tales will continue to thrive, bringing joy and insight to all who listen. So, go forth, my friends, and let the stories live on.